The broadcast is live.
All right, welcome to the Cavern of Chaos with the usual suspects. The show we do for a whistle. Can you only imagine what we do for a biscuit? I've been watching a little film noir here lately. Anyway,
Yeah.
the show that started with a little line ended with the hard truth.
Sometimes they have sayings in film noir. You don't even know what they are.
Yeah, that's why this was a good one. I got a few in my head.
She was like a hard right in a car that only made lefts. What?
That was gold. I wish somebody was here to hear that. That was awesome. We got the title for our next show. Well, when people get in here, we'll make the big announcement about Scott. But it's Friday night, the first beginning of the month, Christmas month, and stuff like that. And it's raining here where I'm at, but man, people have been out for 2 days losing their mind. So I'm kind of wondering if there's going to be like anybody really doing anything tonight where you actually sit down besides us,
Lots and lots of running around.
I'll be doing my crazy Christmas stuff and stuff. So, well, Paolo, we've had holidays you guys didn't have over there, but I assume you got Christmas, right?
Well, we've had holidays. On Tuesday, we celebrated kicking out the Habsburg kings of Spain in 1640, the glorious revolution of 1640, which made Portugal independent again. We took advantage of a Catalonian revolt. So, and the Catalonians are still trying to do a successful revolt.
I'm predicting in the next 10 years we'll probably be repeating your history over here. But it's going to be glorious.
Those damn Habsburgs. Once you let them in the country, they just don't want to leave.
And down there below us, that is not a new avatar. This is not a pic he's just put up. That is Scott with an actual webcam way back there. And don't have to yell; he can hear us. Yeah. So, how's it feel, Scott? Do you feel exposed? Do you feel naked? Are you comfortable?
I don't know.
I didn't think about it till you said something, Tim.
No, I did. Actually, I didn't. So.
Do you feel comfortable doing your usual puns?
Either naked or exposed, but
Oh my god, that's hilarious. Oh, well, we know who's got the car that only does rights and hard lefts tonight. No,
like NASCAR.
Oh my god, film noir NASCAR. Well, I guess just to kind of jump into something real good for, I guess, with show comics and stuff is, I feel like I'm the only one that's still remembering. Like, I'll never forget, because it seems like the news was there. Everybody mourned for a day. They had their pictures in the stories, and then it went on. Life has gone on and stuff, man. But we lost Darth Vader this week.
Mm-hmm.
He what was he in his 80s, 83, 85? David Prowse.
Yeah.
The man who helped Superman bulk up for his movie, put some muscles on Christopher Reeve, like 40 pounds of muscle or something. Yeah, not the voice of Darth Vader. My wife freaked out when I said Darth Vader had passed away. She thought it was James Earl Jones.
Right.
I think that's why he's not quite as beloved as some of the other cast. Is that he was in the suit the whole time. No one recognizes his face. No one recognizes his voice because it wasn't his voice.
Those people are called posers. I'm just saying. If you know Star Wars, you know who David Prowse is.
Yeah, you do. But he's.
I find your lack of recognition disturbing.
He's not as beloved as the faces of Star Wars.
And so it starts. That's But yeah, that kind of, I can't say it really bummed me out. I mean, it wasn't good news, but it didn't really hit me hard. I mean,
for a while too.
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly, Scott. Yeah. So
I actually met him at a convention. Gosh, early '90s, I think. So it's been a long time ago.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
But now I'm going to be petting my Darth Vader randomly to the show like I'm a Bond villain.
That's kind of scary, too.
Do you expect me to talk? Do you expect me to talk, Howler Mouse? No, I expect you to die.
We all have a dark side, Scott. Get it? Dark side. Never mind.
I get it. I just wish it did. But yeah.
It's gonna be bad pun night, man.
There's no such thing as a bad pun.
No such thing as a good pun.
Oh yeah.
Man, this may be the greatest show ever. I thought last week.
No good pun goes unpunished.
No pun goes unpunished. I'll be changing the name of the show tonight. That'll be it. No good pun.
Shakespeare said, "Get thee to a punnery."
They got to start making better comics.
And then you're allowed to pontificate upon your crimes. And they lock you up in a penitentiary.
Mind the Comics
Don't laugh at his puns. It just encourages them.
Victor Thomas is here, so we got some people there going. Well, Scott, I know you got some books. I saw you post on Facebook, that you had some new books this week, didn't you?
No.
Oh, wait a minute. Jared.
No, that wasn't me.
It was Jared.
I'm the one who's always got new books.
I did get a couple new books, but I haven't opened them yet. I still haven't opened up the package I got for the Nexus Kickstarter.
Oh, did you already get your Nexus book?
Well, I got a different one than you did. See, there's been two. I'm going to get the same one that you did as well.
Yeah.
But the one I'm talking about is for a sketchbook that he did.
Okay.
See, that's the problem with Kickstarter. You buy them, they don't come for months, so you forget about them. They show up, and you're not even excited anymore. Not excited enough to open the package.
I'm kind of waiting because I'm kind of like waiting, kind of like a Christmas thing as we get close to Christmas before I open it up. So.
I had a coworker to tell me that there's a series of books, something like the Black Dagger books, and she listens to them on like Audible or something while she's coming back and forth to work. And she hit me with it. She's told me about this book. It's basically gay vampires, But she said there was one that reminded her of me, and it kind of goes with what Scott, with his package there, right? It said something like there's a television show these gay vampires are watching, and they don't want to watch the last season. So the guy came out and he did this very enunciated, profound book of speech saying he will not watch the last episode because he doesn't want it to end. That means it'll go on forever. And she thought about me. So maybe that's what we got going on with the Nexus. I don't want to open it up and read the last one. Huh?
There is something to be said for having, what's the word I'm looking for, a little cachet of material by one of your favorite creators, save it for the shelf, just on a day that you're bored or whatever, that you haven't seen yet.
Yeah.
There's some Jack Kirby stuff that I haven't read yet.
Right.
And I'm kind of like, I don't want to read it. I want to have some Jack Kirby in the future to read.
Speaking of Mr. Kirby there, have you read the Skymaster stuff that he did?
No, I've seen bits and pieces of it when it pops up in an article or something.
It's quite good. I highly recommend it.
Yeah.
That's the comic strip he did in the 50s?
With Wally Wood.
Yeah.
Wally Wood did some of the work, but now there was another person that inked some of it whose name was also Wood, but it wasn't Wally. I don't remember the guy's first name, which makes it confusing. Two guys.
Yeah. It was Dave Wood.
Okay,
but they're not related.
No, they're not.
Yeah, I've just seen some of the Jack Kirby, Wally Wood stuff, and that's probably exactly why I saw it. That comic strip. Did you say they collected it?
There's been 3 or 4 different collections over the years.
Yeah. Okay, I thought there was like a recent one.
The Kirby Museum is trying to get all the original art collected in one place, but they don't have it. But when we have the 100th anniversary exhibit here in Portugal, the piece of Skymaster's art that they used, they managed to locate one panel that had been cut off of the strip.
No.
And they glued it back together.
Oh my God. Yeah, definitely. I'd recommend people to kind of look at that stuff because I tell you what, Wally Wood inking Jack Kirby was just some sweet looking stuff, man. It really was.
Very nice.
I mean, did it successfully become a comic strip? Because I sort of thought it was.
No, it was formatted as a comic strip.
Right, got you. Yeah,
it was one of those. Those were the days where everybody was trying to get a comic strip because that's where the money and glory was.
That's where
and you had to do like 5 or 6 weeks of a comic strip in order to just show it to the syndicates.
Speaking of such, I saw some strips that were done by Jack Davis that were pitched as a Western comic strip, but they never actually got published. But boy, those things are beautiful.
Yeah, and for people who don't know, Jack Davis is that classic legendary artist from EC Comics, Mad Comics, and stuff. I'm finding out some people don't know what we're talking about sometimes. They're just too shy to ask. I'm not going to call anybody out. There's no big deal about that. But yeah, I'm finding out we don't clarify a lot.
Was Sky Masters picked up? How many strips were there of that?
2 years.
It did run for 2 years.
The Sundays were done in color, and then the dailies were black and white.
Yeah, I wasn't sure since I've only seen bits and pieces of it. I wasn't sure if it was one they only did 5 or 6 weeks of, or it was
4 different books by 4 different companies over the last 20 to 25 years or so that have published those.
I imagine the rights for it are cheap. That's why they're all publishing it.
Possible.
But probably the returns aren't huge.
No, you're not going to sell as many copies of that as you would, Kirby's superhero work.
Yeah.
It's a nice material. It's well worth looking at.
You know those syndicates when they chose the strips. I've seen stuff that was not picked up, and then they pick this up, and then they insist on publishing stuff like Mary Worth.
Those legacy comic strips, when papers try to drop them, people complain.
I don't get it.
And I don't get it either.
People like
that's what happens. I only got 3 comics this week.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
and only one off my pull list. The Boys, Dear Becky.
Still chugging along.
Yeah.
Does it have a purpose yet? Does it have a purpose?
I think it does. I think I finally found. I think with this issue, I finally understand its purpose. And there's one more. I thought this was the last issue, but there's 8 issues. This is the kind of the story how the Butcher became the Butcher. In terms of, we get flashbacks to because this is all what's his name, Huey. Reading the Butcher's journal. Why the Butcher wrote a journal, I'll never know. He doesn't seem like the journaling type.
Vlog. He should have a vlog.
He's got this mental image of Sam the Butcher from Brady Bunch sitting down at a.
We see him and his wife in flashbacks, and we see him after his wife died in flashbacks. And it's kind of him making the transition from being a messed up guy to being a super messed up guy who knows he's doing the wrong thing, using his wife's death as motivation to get revenge for her, which he knows she doesn't want. So this is kind of leading us to him becoming the Butcher in the very beginning of The Boys. So that's what it's basically doing. It's telling the story of his sort of incremental turns to just wanting to kill all superheroes.
You know what? I'm going to tell you. I am a little disappointed that Garth Ennis went that lazy way with, here's a journal by the Butcher. He kept a journal. You read the book. We know the Butcher. The Butcher, no, he would laugh at you. Not going to keep
a journal.
He would laugh at you for keeping a journal.
Right.
I mean, you just give him ammo to come at you.
That's maybe it'll turn out the journal isn't his. I don't know, because Huey doesn't know who sent him the journal.
It would have to be a plant. That's the only way I could get it. Is that the Butcher made a trap with it. Even the dog would be laughing at you. The Butcher's dog would laugh at you too.
Up in Kevin Kelly asks us, so where do you get your books at? I go to my local comic shop in Pearl River. I think, what is its name? I should know its name. It's Comics Warehouse. I think that's what its name is. See, it's funny. When I first started going there in 1982, it was the Paperback Exchange. So it actually started as a used paperback bookstore, and then it transitioned into comics. So when I think of its name, I still think it's the Paperback Exchange, even though
years ago, Paperback Exchange bookstore in the town that I live in.
Yeah,
that's a very common name for used bookstore.
Yeah, must have been. But we used to like my friend Rob and I, who I still meet at the comic shop. Well, not during COVID. But he was my one friend from high school. We used to, like, on Saturdays, as soon as he got his license, so he was probably, what is that, 1982, when he was 16, we started driving to the comic shop every week. And first we'd go to our main comic shop in Nyack, New York, M&M Comics. Then we'd head over to the mall and stop by the Paperback Exchange. Even when it was just a paperback store, Rob used to like to buy paperback books, so we were always getting. Then all of a sudden, we noticed comics started coming in. We were like, "Oh, come in!" And then we'd go over to the Walden Books and check out the latest books at Walden Books, and then go to the video game store. So that was our route we'd take every week. And so that it's changed owners, and moved spots, but it's still the same store, basically.
Right. Oh, good times. Good times.
But the second book I got, which was a surprise to Sleepy Reader, he said, was I picked up the latest issue of Spawn.
Spawn and Sonic, the two invisible audiences. I mean,
issue 312 this is. And I picked it up because it's still a $2.99 book, but it's like I always find myself wanting to pick up Spawn, but never do because I generally don't like the artwork. And like for years, he's had this dark and murky artwork in Spawn that I just don't like.
For decades.
So now we've actually got some pretty decent, colorful superhero artwork that I kind of liked better. So I'm like, you know what? I'll pick up an issue and give it a read.
Well, he's got he doesn't bleed into the backgrounds now with all the dark stuff they were doing from what you just said. Yeah.
I found the story. I found for years. I've never been a regular reader of Spawn. I bought the Eric Larson, Todd McFarlane stuff a couple of years ago. That was solid. Every now and then I pick up an issue of Spawn. And like I said, it's unreadable. Some of it. It was just so dark and murky, and the storytelling so dense. But this issue I actually enjoyed. I mean, Todd McFarlane's still writing it. This cover is dense and not interesting to me.
Yeah.
And this is how the artwork usually is inside, but not with this. Who's this artist? Hold on. This is Carlo Barberi on the inside. Cult of America Part 2. And there was a whole bunch of like Western Spawn was in the Gunslinger Spawn, and a whole bunch of other Spawns were hanging out fighting somebody. But the Todd McFarlane writing was actually, when you can see the artwork, actually makes the writing a little better too, because you can understand what's going on. Yeah, so I have to say, this is the first issue of Spawn I'd enjoyed in a long time. But I like that. Even though I'm not a Spawn fan, I don't usually buy Spawn. I like the fact that Spawn exists. Because, this book only exists because Todd McFarlane wants it to exist.
Yeah.
So, and there's something about that appeals to me. I'm just like, all right.
Well, what number is it on? It broke the 300.
312. It says
312.
World Record-breaking comic up top.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not going to dissect that, but see, I'm old school. I like a comic where you can experiment and do mood and colors, just whatever it takes. But at the end of the day, I like it to where if I didn't read the words, if I didn't read the dialogue, whatever they have now, just looking at the pictures, I could still follow the story. It still tells the story.
At least follow along. With the dark murkiness of Spawn's artwork, I couldn't even read the words and follow along. So it's kind of like.
I remember
Yep.
picking up. I remember somebody had an issue that I just sort of flipped through, and even the freaking word balloons disappeared into the background.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the third and final one I got is Fake Spider-Man.
Erratic.
This called Erratic.
We're back to the puns. We're back to the bad puns. I'm holding back.
Yep. Upshot Comics, AWA. It's by Carrie Andrews, who's a name I know from Marvel, but I don't really know his work.
I don't
Carrie
really
Andrews.
like his art.
What was that?
I don't really like his art. It's too Humberto Ramos for me.
Yeah, it's very. He's good, but his artwork is
Hold
got
on,
this
Jared.
cartooniness to it.
There we go.
Oh,
geez. Yeah, I'm not. No. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not my favorite thing, but I only had one comic on my pull list, so I was looking for something to pick up.
And it's only got one point of view, man. It's like it's not even a bird's eye view, a worm's eye view, or straight on. That's kind of weird. Yeah.
Yeah, it's mostly medium shots as I look at it here.
Yeah, that's just
It wasn't spectacular, and it's very like what was it that I bought a few weeks ago? An Unkindness of Ravens.
Mm-hmm.
It's really aimed at teenagers more than me. So it's a kid in high school. I think it barely scratched this. There was more sort of CW high school stuff going on it than superpowered stuff in the first issue. It's just It's not for guys our age, really. So it was not that it was bad. It was just not aimed at us. So
I don't know if I think that was for teenagers either. But anyway, just saying.
So it's the non-spectacular Fake Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's at least for people who like stories about teenagers.
Nice.
Plenty of adults watch those CW shows.
Yeah.
The
trick with those comics is that the people who read those teen books that are teens grow up, and Marv Wolfham's been the only guy to pull it off where the teens grew up with them. I can go,
Yeah.
But Grotu Orloff, what's up?
What's up?
Dr. Silver Age, howdy.
Ew.
Sleepy Reader's in here. He's got a question for you. Is the appeal of Savage Dragon the same as the Spawn?
No, because I actually like Savage Dragon. That's what Carrie Andrews did. Renato Jones, the 1%. All right. Yeah, I actually like Savage. I mean, it is appealing that it's been around so long. That is true. To me, that's the fact that one guy has been doing that comic for 30 years now, and the characters age in real time, makes it very unique and interesting to me. But I actually like Spawn. I don't really like the comic, but I still like that. I still like that it's around, kind of thing. Because of one guy.
Go ahead.
Even though Todd McFarlane hasn't really drawn it in 15, 20 years, it's still just because of Todd McFarlane that anybody else would have just said, I don't care about Spawn anymore. I'm making toys, and it would have ended. But Todd McFarlane's like, no, I want to keep making Spawn. So no, that's admirable to me.
What are you saying, Scott?
I said buying baseballs for $1 million.
Yeah. Two in a row, I think. No, he bought one, and then the record was broke the next year after he paid like $1.3 million or something.
Yeah.
I remember that.
It didn't.
Yeah. And then steroids got in there somehow. I hate that Sleepy Reader and Dr. Silverage came in a little bit late. I think they would have appreciated our film noir talk, our bad puns, and some Darth Vader talk of David Prowse, going away. I think they would have been there with us, at least on one of those. Well, I got a whole little stack of books. There was a guy in the mall playing who it was amazing. They hadn't been there since February, and they just had two little short boxes there. And I went through them, got some stuff. They were supposed to be $1 a piece, but they just kept saying, "Put it in the bag, put it in the bag." So I've already done like a little show last weekend. But the first thing I'm going to show is this cracked me up. I haven't sat down and read it yet, but this is from Eclipse Comics. And it's a one-shot that spun out of Airboy, Chuck Dixon's Airboy, and it's called Air Maidens. You talk about 1988 and the TNA in this. They find every excuse in the world to have them walking around in their bra and panties and little.
I bought it in 1988. It's still on my shelf.
Yeah, but it was like fun. I feel like it was really weird for me to open this because I was transported back to 1988. I heard the Cult in my head as I was reading it.
That is still on my shelf. I don't think I've looked at it since 1988.
I heard Love Removal Machine in my head as I was going through it. I was expecting MTV to be on in the corner. It was weird,
I actually saw the Cult in 1988.
There you go. Yeah. But this was fun. But I don't, just flipping through it, it was fun. It had me cracking up. And then of course I started getting I had a little moment there because I ended up getting rid of my Winter World stuff that Chuck Dixon had. He's post-apocalyptic Winter World. Guy named Constant Bromstar told me about it, and I was able to find a collected edition for like a hardback for like $2 at a comic book convention after he told me about it. See,
to me, that book's about Jorge Zafino.
I just remember the Badger. I mean, I read it back like in 2014, and because I think he started at IDW again with it. So,
Jorge Zafino is the artist on Winter World, and he's really good.
Yeah,
he is really, really good.
Yeah, that's probably a sample of his stuff. Oh, it was well done. I mean, it was a well done book.
Yeah.
But the other one, I think I ran across an issue of these guys, I'm sure, back in the day. I don't know a lot about them at all. And I remember seeing them in ads like with Amazing Heroes or something, those little, all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm pretty sure they have Jack Kirby ties. I'm going to have to buckle down, but it's the last of the Viking heroes. And they have this look like a sanitized 1950s, romanticized idea of Vikings and stuff. But I got it because somebody kept the roots and they had the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles time traveling back to meet them. So if you have Turtle stuff from 1984 to about 1991, that's my era. That's my stuff right there. So I had to pick this up. I mean, they got some sketches in here by Kirby of Darkseid and stuff. So I don't know if this is a throwaway Kirby characters that they acquired. I have no idea, but I feel like it has a Kirby attachment to it.
By the way, there's a second volume of Winter World too. They revived it about 10 years ago or so.
I think it was through IDW. Yeah,
IDW.
Yeah. That's why I found that first volume of hardback at a comic book convention for nothing, and then I was ordering the IDW book.
I got that first volume, the hardback, when it came out. I forget when.
Yeah, here's some Viking Heroes Kirby artwork in here. I'm not going to blow myself up here, but it's just it looks like it's Kirby towards the end of his career is what it reminds me of. Little Thundar in that picture there. So I don't know if anybody's heard of the last of the Viking Heroes, but I'm pretty sure it has some Kirby ties. I don't know. The turtles were in it. These oddities like this, I used to get excited about them. Now I'm just sort of like, what the hell was going on? And here we go.
What in the name of the wide world of sports is going on
around
here? Is there Maidens it's Dave Stevens? No, I don't see Dave Stevens on here.
He did the covers on them.
It's a guy named Elmore, Elmore. That's how he's signed them.
I think Dave Stevens did some covers for Airboy.
I saw advertisements
at least one Airboy cover. But,
yeah, I've seen advertisements like where they used the Dave Stevens drawing for Airboy, to advertise it. This is Larry Elmore, Charles Dixon.
Larry Elmore. Wow.
Hold on, I want to show you this.
I know that. He was
Larry Elmore was a TSR artist.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, let me see if it's going to let me. This is what I'm saying throughout the book. They find excuses through. I mean, it's just they fight zombies.
That's interesting. Because other than the comic strip he did for Dragon Magazine, I didn't know Larry Elmore did any comics.
Yeah. But they find all kinds of excuses to get the legs in. There we go. Get all that in. But it's fun. That's the whole deal, man. It's not gratuitous. It's just fun. I'm laughing. I mean, I feel like all these girls that have showed up for a Motley Crue video, and not.
Hey, gratuitous can be fun.
Oh, I'm down with gratuitous. I'm just saying that comic, you know.
Tim, I don't know if you have this or not, but if you have the red box version of Dungeons and Dragons from the late 80s, it's got a Larry Elmore cover.
Okay, I know which one you're talking about. Yeah. Is that the which one is it? The basic? You talking about that basic set?
Well, there's a couple different versions of the basic set. The one I'm talking about is the second, kind of like the second edition of the basic set.
Yeah.
And to answer Sleepy Reader, yes, it was the cold opening for Metallica in 1988.
Sleepy Reader years ago did a video showing off his vinyl collection of his punk stuff and everything like that. And I got to tell you, man, I was drooling. I mean, he's got the stuff. We need to find that one. Victor Thomas saw The Cult and The Comic Collector. See, this is why I like doing YouTube, man. I mean, 5 or 6 years ago, I walked into a CD store or something in some mall somewhere while I was doing this stuff for work. And I walked in and they were listening to The Cult, and I went up and started talking to them, and they were convinced we're the only 3 people in the world that not only remember The Cult, but we're the only ones listening to them. You know, I'm like, and now here's my people out here. You know, they're
right. Well, even that, you come across somebody, ask them if they know any song from The Cult besides Love Removal Machine, and they're like, no. So
I still listen to She Sells Sanctuary, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, the extended version, you know. All is well this Friday, finding you well. Read some great comics over the week. Think some great stuff is coming out from a plethora of publishers as of late.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I always manage to find stuff to buy, so
This is the first month. This is the first month I have no new orders. Couldn't do it. Couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Like I said, December and January are usually pretty slow. That's why I picked a couple of things off the shelf.
Awesome.
Just to give a try to.
Now I did dig through some, not so much dig, but I'm trying to like get the stuff put up and organized in here so I can like turn without knocking something over, you know. But I found a bunch of Atlas comics I forgot I had. You know, the Morlocks 2001, a book I don't recommend. Sounds like it would be fun, you know. Yeah, Morlock 2001 Midnight Men. It kept changing there, and I think there's only a couple issues out of this.
Yeah.
Scorpion. I got to tell you, man, I have flipped through these. I know this was Stan Lee's brother doing this company.
Right.
I think it was secretly a Marvel training ground. That's what I think.
No, it was Martin. The Atlas Comics existed because Martin Goodman sold Marvel Comics to I don't know, Kinney Chemicals, whoever it was, and they were supposed to keep Goodman's son on board as an executive. They didn't. So then Martin Goodman got so pissed off, he started another comic book company that his son could run.
Okay, so there's no ties to Marvel, even on the up down low. You know what I mean?
No,
like, hey,
that was all because Martin Goodman was angry with Marvel for not treating his son right, for the new owners of Marvel.
And what's worse, Martin Goodman promised to pay more money than Marvel's the Marvel's rates. It didn't quite work.
Right.
I've heard several versions of what you just said, Jared, which I think ends right there. You know what you're talking about. But Paolo, I've heard that for years.
Yeah, I've read that.
That's awesome. Tales of Evil featuring the Man Monster. I have not read this one. This cracks me up.
What a title.
But Iron Jaw, that's the one I remember when I was a kid.
Yeah.
You had them barbarian fantasy books coming out, but this guy had an Iron Jaw, The
one I had when I was a kid was The Brute.
It might be in here. Wolf and Iron Jaw was in there. So when Trap Jaw from the Masters of the Universe toy came out, my mind went there. Wolf the Barbarian. I actually remember liking this.
Yeah.
I think those were the ones with the most potential out of all of them.
Target, who this book messed with my head. I thought this was the Human Target, and with his own book. So as a kid, I'm sitting here thinking, I was all messed up about that one.
Yeah, Target's brand has potential, but I'm not sure if the stories are any good.
I don't remember anything really good. I know people that absolutely love these books. Phoenix the Protector. This is the kind of stuff that gives comics a bad name.
Yeah, I think people just like the idea of owning those books. I'm not sure people are actually interested in reading them.
Yeah.
Right. I have to agree with you there because I've read a lot of them and they're not. First of all, there was a lot of talent making those books.
Yes.
Ditko was working there. Chaykin. I think Woody was there too. It was like they had a lot of talent making them, but none of the books. I think they ran into distribution problems too. That's what it was.
Okay.
They couldn't get distributed to the newsstands. So,
well, a funny thing about Demon Hunter. David Kraft took him to Marvel,
right,
as Devil Slayer, and in Devil Slayer's first appearance, he references things that happened in the Demon Hunter comic.
Yeah, I remember that was blowing my mind when I was a kid. I had that because I just started reading the Defenders, and somewhere I got that issue of Demon Slayer, and I was like, "Hey!" And I was like, "Same writer, he's bringing it over."
That's the kind of stuff in comics I love.
Yeah.
I got some of those DC Showcase that Bernie Wrightston did with the character, and then I've tried to kind of explain to people about that character and stuff. I love it. They sort of did the same thing with Steve Englehart and Mantis, who's, floating around in like in an issue of Justice League or something back in the day. But Devil Slayer, that's great stuff, man. I loved it. It was the right amount of cheese in there. Seriously, I was like, that's just enough. Oh man, that's hilarious.
And not only was a continuity of like inside a comic book universe, there was a continuity of creators too. It was like real life continuity you got to see, as opposed to comic book continuity.
Yeah, I like the whole idea of just like this is the same character. We just done enough to people with the wink and a nod got it, and apparently we lit up the comments with that stuff here. It continues. Gore Vidal is happy to see you there. It's Scott.
Yeah.
It's been a dog age since I listened to the Cult. You need to remedy that. If you have YouTube,
I don't think I've ever listened to the Cult.
Oh, dude.
Besides on the radio.
Yeah.
I can't even think of a song now that you mention them.
If you heard any Cult at all, it would have been one of two different songs. That's all they ever got radio airplay for.
Firewoman, Edie, Tattooed Your Name Across My Heart, whatever that was on a soundtrack of a Nick Cage thing.
And I always mixed them up with, who was it? The Fix, I'm thinking of?
That's a completely different band, yeah.
I know, but I always mixed them up in my mind back in the day.
Are you talking about
Jimmy I didn't listen to either band. And
the Radioactive song? Yeah.
No, the Fix was...
Who am I thinking of that did the Radioactive song and it was Jimmy Page in there?
That was
Not
the Firm.
Uptight.
Huh?
That was the Firm.
The Firm.
Yes.
I think I mixed up the Fix, the Firm, and the Cult.
Three completely different bands. Yeah.
I know, but they all had the and then 4 letters, and I didn't listen to any of them.
Well, I'll tell you what, Billy Duffy will be very glad that you got him confused with Jimmy Page in that mix. That's awesome. He would like that. I
remember when I was in college, the Fix was actually playing there one night, and I wasn't going to the show, but I was walking down the street. And somebody asked me, he's like, "Is the Fix playing here tonight?" I was like, "Yeah, just like go down the street there and turn the corner, and there you cool, man." It was like the guys from the Freedom Rock video showed up,
Oh God, turn it up, man.
Who sang "I Ran"? I ran so far away.
Flock of Seagulls.
Yeah,
Flock of Seagulls. Okay,
Funny
they're all from that same era. I've confused
Flock
them
of
all.
Seagulls. Okay, Danny Vazzo, the colorist who used to work for DC and did some Vertigo books, he did some coloring on Sandman. Years later, joined Flock of Seagulls. Keyboardist.
And one thing leads to another. Who was that?
I got the song.
One thing leads to another.
And the wrong antidote was like a bone in the throat. One thing leads to another. That was like the Fix, the Firm,
that was
the
Cult.
Fix.
Yeah, that was the Fix.
That was the Fix.
Yeah.
I stopped. I had all those words in my head, but I couldn't put them in the right order. And
you can see why I'm confused by them. All those the 4-letter word bands that I didn't listen to in the 80s, but were around.
You want to go deep? Oh, go ahead, Scott.
There are a lot of bands that are the blank. You can fill in that formula.
There was one guy, and I think I wanted to say they were doing the Sultans of Swing song, but that sounds like I might be getting them confused. No. The Politics of Dancing.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, feeling good. I like that song on the radio. I see the freaking video finally, and you got one guy who's completely bald and he's got like the horseshoe, you know what I'm saying? Like what I'm starting to get, but he's got a braided ponytail going down his back. I just wanted to smack him. Like, I mean, that just ran all over me when I saw that. I'm like, you're dead to me, band. You're dead to me.
Wow.
The Morlocks books have had some great art for the covers, and they are great for just having an Atlas on the shelf.
Yeah, I think people like to have Atlas more than they like to read Atlas.
It's a novelty. I think it's a novelty to have and they're affordable. Most of them really were. It's funny how quickly they changed most of the characters at least once during the extremely beef run.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was like, I think the Planet of the Vampires had like 3 or 4 issues and changed concepts 3 times. It was
That's what I was going to say. I've got that one somewhere, maybe. I may have gotten rid of it.
Movie?
Huh?
What was that, Scott?
Was that the adaptation of the movie?
No.
Atlas was Revenge Publishing. But unfortunately didn't get Revenge distribution.
I think Dr. Silver Age is on board with us here.
Yeah.
Wolf was written and drawn by Larry Hama, at least in one issue. I want to pay attention to see if I have that. That's awesome. Was the Grim Ghost Atlas? I'm thinking of 2 or 3 different Grim Ghosts. I don't think it was Atlas.
There was an Atlas Grim Ghost.
There was an Atlas Grim Ghost. All right. I'm not batting anything tonight.
I first realized
I think it was one issue only.
I first realized how many people loved Atlas. Maybe it was the mid 90s, and I had one friend who had mentioned he liked Atlas before, and I happened to be at a Comic-Con, and some guy I knew was selling like a stack of Atlas comics for dirt cheap. This is 1995. No one wants Atlas comic. So I bought him kind of as a goof, and I gave him to him for his birthday. There was like 5 of my comic book friends there jealous that he got all those Atlas comics. I'm like, really? Really? I was like, wow, Atlas is way more beloved than I thought.
I got to say, I had the exact same reaction. I think it was around 94. I mean, like I said, there was some scattered in the house with the stepdad and the uncle, but I never thought anything about him. I mean, not even enough to brag about. 94 people, people were loving him. I'm digging this music talk here for a second. Flock of Seagulls is the rabbit hole Jared needs to go down. Their best song is Space Age Love Song. That's the one that I have it on a cassette here somewhere. I'm
more a Kaji guy.
Huh?
They have a best song?
Yeah, Space Age Love Song. That's the
I don't believe it.
Yes.
I'm more a Kashagugu guy, but I only know the one song.
Do not desecrate the Lamal in this house. No. But then you have Dire Straits. My favorite Dire Straits song after they got all popular was Romeo and Juliet and Skate Away.
I love those two too. Yeah,
I think it's Skate Away.
I'm not a huge Dire Straits fan, but I do like Mark Knopfler's solo.
Say it again, Scott. You kind of had some reverb.
Oh, I'm not a huge Dire Straits fan, but I do like Mark Knopfler's solo stuff quite a bit.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mark went from the loudest guy of the 4 of us to the quietest with his new webcam.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Sisters of Mercy. That's ringing a bell. Let me see here. Uh-oh. I got some Space Age Love Song is that classic retail movie rom-com where the guy and the girl protect the store overnight. Dr. Silver Age is sort of with us. He was just a few years ahead of us there.
Right. It took me when I picked up that big stack of Atlas comics for my friend. I was like, wow, there's a lot of comics in this stack.
Yeah, I got a lot of love for the Space Age Love Song. Gore Vidal, I have seen that. And I think there's a video up where a couple years ago, the band came back together and they have an orchestra doing Space Age Love Song with them. Another little trivia about, since we were bringing up trivia about Flock of Seagulls, years ago, I don't know what he's doing now, the drummer, they're a band from, England, but the drummer was living in Raleigh, North Carolina, working in some factory where you got to wear a hairnet.
And to get us back to comics,
Okay.
I got the latest comic shop news this week. Brothers in
Nice.
Arms and used in final scene of tons of. The first time I saw Brothers in Arms used really well was in Miami Vice. And I've seen it used half a dozen times since then.
I love how we keep going back. We keep going back.
Whenever we have a TV show where you have a fallen comrade, they now use Brothers in Arms.
Nice.
Yeah, we didn't get any comics this week, so we might as well talk about music.
This is I guess is DC's newest crossover, Justice League Endless Winter, where they're fighting Snow Miser. As far as I can tell from the description, that's it. Everybody's got to fight Snow Miser and his army. I'm like, okay. Let's see, what's the guy's name? It's an extinction level global event, because you can't have a crossover without the grandest stakes ever. Either the whole universe has to be in stake, or the whole world. You can't just fight someone. Let's see. Yeah. What's this guy? The villains. You
just need to go down to get to the pizza.
Yeah. Villain's name is Frost King. How inspired is that? Maybe he got bitten by a radioactive freezer or something. I don't know. But I think there's like 8 parts. It's crossing over a whole bunch of different stuff, and I can't imagine anyone cares.
Well, we saw what happened earlier this week when I had 5 minutes left on lunch and I checked out comic book news. And I found the most ridiculous, stupid stuff that's a hot book now that's going into second print already. I can't do it anymore, man. I cannot do it. If I brought up that book, I don't want to be that guy who sits here and tells you why this book sucks and how they've thrown all kinds of shit out of the air, then how they can do it better.
Like I said, I stopped caring in the 80s, so it doesn't bother me.
But you know,
the cover I like.
Huh? Friar Tuck, head on, sir. Head on.
I don't know what this book is. By the Horns, #1. It's from Scout Comics. But from this little teeny tiny picture of the cover, I was like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Hold on, let me put you in solo.
Not big so people can see it, but it's just this weird psychedelic half amateur cover. That seems pretty cool. I don't know what the book is. By the Horns. Check out the cover, and where is it? A mysterious? No, I don't even think I have no idea. Oh, is that the woman who hates unicorns or something? I may have read something of that, a preview of that.
The X-Men X of Swords crossover had over 20 books at $4.99 each. I don't know how people afford those books. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't either. That's insane.
Yeah, from what I understood, X of Swords, nobody understood anything that happened in X of Swords. And now that finished, and King in Black began, which is the Venom-centric crossover. But I don't know how they actually managed to produce an interesting spin-off of that. It's called The Union, and the main character is Union Jack.
Oh, okay. That's the one Paul Grist is writing.
Yeah.
I really like Paul Grist's Jack Staff and other stuff like the stuff Mudman.
Especially because it was quite obvious that he only did Jack Staff because they didn't approve a Union Jack series for him.
God, how long has Jack? How long has Jack Staff been around? That book, I mean, that character's got some legs, man. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now let me get this straight. Don't they have like the Gen 5 stuff coming out in January or whatever it is from DC, right? And they're already announcing that crossover with the Justice League you just showed.
Yeah, I think this is this winter. I don't know. Let me see when it's coming out.
Yeah, if it's not running at the same time, that's just kind of show you that's part of the problem. These things don't matter. They plan one big crossover. It doesn't really matter because they're already advertising for the next one. You know,
it begins in January, so it's coming out at the same time as. that other big crossover. So,
well, anybody that's hanging in with the current stuff out there and stuff and enjoying it, I tip my hat to you. That's I'm very happy for you.
yeah, I
Should call it the P.T. Barnum universe.
Have Scout Comics been any good? I only tried one or two a year or so ago and didn't click.
I think so. Is hold on a second. Is this is Sarah and the Royal Stars Scout Comics? Let me see.
Swords was dumb. Somebody did not like it. I haven't kept up. Beth Carrasco's in the house. I haven't kept up with X-Men in a long time. My interest burned out after they killed off Generation X. I think I really haven't kept up with them since the Age of Apocalypse.
No, neither have I. I tried reading that big cross of House of X, House of Sword, whatever it was from last winter.
Yeah.
I took it out of the library and tried reading it and couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Well, since we're talking about X-Men, after you get through, I'll jump on something here I dug out.
I think it was a Vault comic I was reading, not a Scout. I think I bought a couple of Scout comics, but I don't remember if I kept any of them, if I kept up with any of them. I think I bought more Vault comics than Scout comics. Even I think they launched around the same time that I noticed, at least. But I Walk with Monsters #3 is coming out. Both Sleepy and I bought the first issue of that, and neither of us liked it that much. But the covers are nice. You know,
okay.
It's the story of a woman who hunts serial killers and child molesters with her buddy who turns into a monster, and there really just wasn't enough there in the first issue for me.
Yeah, I hear a title like that, and it makes me think of a Vincent Price B movie, which would be better. I Walked with the Monsters.
They're coming out with a new trade, DC through the 80s, with that Alan Moore story that we all love.
I probably have all that. Yeah, I mean, it's cool. It's coming back.
Yeah, I do too. But it says, here's an interesting thing. This is says, but a lot of fans are going to want this one for the complete text of Alan Moore's legendary, never before published Twilight proposal.
I've been hearing about this off and on for a year.
I remember you mentioning it before.
Yeah.
But what struck me is DC owns his proposal?
It's well, I mean, it's using all DC characters. You know,
but that
what I mean?
doesn't matter. If they never bought it, why would they own it?
And I mean,
probably because he signed a work for hire check would be more than likely.
But if they never bought it, he would sign nothing.
Well, obviously they bought it, or they wouldn't be putting it out, or they found a legal loophole.
Did they? Because it's a proposal. You don't get paid for proposals. You do proposals in hopes of getting paid.
Well, I mean, look at some of the news that's been coming out over the last year and stuff. Alex Ross did not get paid for anything that they've been pulling out of Kingdom Come and his design, Wonder Woman movies, CW shows, everything. Mike Nelson and anybody that worked on the Dark Horse Alien stuff, now that Disney and Marvel own it, nobody's getting paid there. So
so you're saying they might just be taking it.
And what I understand from DC, it was who made sure you got paid. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me, but they would have a loophole. I mean, they're not just going to. I think they have they've got something in their corner that makes them say we're just going to go ahead and publish it. It's on the internet.
I think the only thing they got on their corner is they're a big company.
Yeah, I might have.
And Alan Moore wants nothing to do with them.
Yeah, they could starve him out. They're probably also thinking that he's got to be in his late 60s by now. You know, so. But and he's turned down all that movie money, so he's not really going to have the funds, I would imagine,
I'm just curious what the legal ramifications are of that, and what the legal. I mean, as far as I know, they don't own your proposal because no one gives you any money for writing a proposal. Yeah.
Well, what's some of the other stuff in that book? Because I remember reading about it. And in that Twilight proposal, it's on the internet. You can find there's a Wikipedia page about it.
All it says are some of DC's best 1980s tales are presented in this hefty collection.
Yeah.
So who knows what's in it?
Yeah, I need to pre-order that if it's going to have the Twilight of the Gods in case something legal does happen and they have to never publish it again.
Yeah, I find that interesting because it's weird.
I'm pretty sure I have I saved the file from the old website which used to have it about 2 or 3 computers ago. It might still be around somewhere in my house.
I liked his whole concept of Twilight of the Twilight stuff, and something happened a few years ago where I thought we were finally going to get it. They kind of hinted about it, and that's what it was. They were planning to put it out in that trade. I tried reading Morrison's X-Men, but it didn't click with me. It might do with the burnout and my interest in Megaton Man taking over. I got the Morrison X-Men stuff because it was Morrison, and then as soon as he was gone, I was out. Jared, Dr. Silver Age picked up the Dynamite series.
Yeah, that's a well done series, isn't it? I was surprised. I liked that one too. It's good stuff. Both comics is very interesting. Yeah, they do.
And Vincent Price and all movies. I can't remember the Film Detective channel on the internet. Okay. Well, if you were here at the top of the hour, you heard some film noir talk going on right here. We were talking about jams and tomatoes and everything. It was awesome.
What was my line? She was like a car that only made rights when she had to make a hard left.
Yeah, then Paolo threw out something where I'm like, we got next week's title of the show, and I've already forgot it. I got to start writing this.
No good pun goes unpunished.
Here's an interesting book. Oh, this is the 3rd edition, too. Impact of Akira hardcover.
Oh.
This book provides social and historical. You can barely see the cover. It's so gray.
We tried.
This book provides social and historical context reflected in the themes of Koichiro Otomo's groundbreaking manga tale of Neo Tokyo is about to explode. How many times was it about to explode?
Yeah,
and it's intended to help the Western reader get a better grasp of this major Japanese comic book's essence. Wow, you can grasp its essence if you read this book. How cool!
If you're over 18. But anyway, if I get jumped on for this question or piled up, that's fine. But I can't really be objective with Akira, right? Do you think it's aged well? Because I mean, Akira in some form or one way has been in my life since like 1988 or 89.
I have not read it since the mid 90s. I really want to give it another read and see how it holds up. I don't think I ever read the end.
You see, I don't know if you remember Appleseed. I read some Appleseed here recently, and I'm like, good stuff, but it definitely you can tell when it came out. I don't think Akira is like that. I think Akira is a little bit.
With Appleseed, you really have to pay attention.
Yeah.
Here's one I just don't care about. I never liked the whole Batman Catwoman romance.
I don't care anymore.
That never rang true to me.
Yeah,
I was always like, it just never seemed to me that Batman should be interested in Catwoman. I don't. He's such a hard ass driven guy, and he's gonna like this thief. I don't know. It just never rang true to me.
Out of all the costume people in Gotham City, Catwoman is the least crazy of the bunch.
Fair enough.
And Bruce Wayne wants some stability.
See, as I was growing up coming into Batman, there's a young child, the Catwoman Batman tension thing was already there. You know what I mean? Like it's always been part of the mythos from where I came in as a kid. I never really stopped to think about it. Thank you, Tom King, for making me stop and think about it.
Here's one Paolo's probably already read The Sumerian, the Frost Giant's daughter.
Yes,
which is
I have the French version here.
Right.
The
Conan one.
They're putting these out mostly as 60-page stories. That one they made 80 just so they could have a bunch of pinups of the Frost Giant's daughter with full frontal nudity.
Wow. Okay.
So I don't know if it's going to come out in the U.S. version, but they're probably going to cover it up.
Awesome.
Yeah, this is just an issue.
Awesome.
What happened to the other 4? It's just me.
The other 4. Oh.
And the picture.
Oh no, I see everybody. I think we're having.
I only see me. I wonder what that is.
Yeah, I'm usually looking at it at the corner of somebody's room.
Oh, hold on. I see what happened. That was me. I'm the technical difficulty. We got some opinions on Batman and Catwoman. Vicky Vale, Silver St. Cloud is way better. Selena's a fun femme fatale, who they have a unique relationship. I think people are forgetting Ra's al Ghul's daughter that he actually had.
So that one never rang true to me either, because I don't think Batman ever wanted to date a villain.
They didn't date. He got drugged and was passed out, and she took it.
Yeah, but there was always romantic tension between them, and I was always just kind of like, "What?"
I never
felt
Batman.
Is Batman the international playboy so hard up for female attention that he wants to date the villain he's fighting? That just never rang true to me.
That goes all the way back to the '66 TV show.
Go ahead, Scott. Continue.
I was going to say that goes all the way back to the 1966 TV show. You know?
Oh yeah, with Catwoman, definitely. Right. But they were making fun of Batman, so it made sense there. Talia is the one villainess I buy him being with.
Before Grant Morrison turned into a hard murderer, Ra's al Ghul.
Speaking of Ra's al Ghul, there, I watched a video that detailed Neil Adams' Batman Odyssey series. That is just stark raving nuts.
I've seen that too. I've seen videos like that too. I'm like,
I'm watching this video and it just gets more and more stupid as it goes along. I'm like, they just need to have somebody that just should have said just no, you know.
I don't know if you guys have ever read the Twilight thing, but Tom Bagley has he's read it and he's got a little hot take here. The Twilight proposal is so Alan Moore's 80 that it seems like an Alan Moore parody. House of Steel and Lightning, Porn Star Plastic Man, a Dirty Doll Man scene. It hits all the 80s Moore marks. Another thing you got to remember is that if you've read it, our character that we travel with, our centerpiece for the story to travel through was the John Constantine, who was still new to comics. You know what I mean? Back in the day. So yeah, he had to get a little sleaze in there if it was going to really be a Constantine story there. Somebody remembers Nocturna? I tip my hat to you. I don't think she's popped up since before Crisis. Yeah, Tom Bagley got it. John Constantine with the narrative voice. Oh God, what is this?
Tom King wants Catwoman to be his mommy wife.
Oh my God. I always thought Batman should be celibate, his iron will, resisting all temptations or distractings, that focus. Yeah.
Either that or date some normal women. He's supposed to be an international playboy, at least pretending. So he's got plenty of opportunities.
No, Phantomos is the international playboy in comics, sir. See, it's right there. I can't believe you said that right when that popped up. Did any of you like Bruce's other loves from Nightfall Saga or Sasha the Bodyguard? No.
What annoyed me with Batman is the cliche of we're always meeting his long lost love. How many series had I think the last one I read was the Matt Wagner one years ago. That he was like, here's another. It was his long lost love, somebody or other, and I was just like, another long lost love for Bruce Wayne. Okay, there's been a few of them.
Oh man. I never thought Batman should have ever been that guy that had a kid pop up out of the past that he didn't know he had. But it happened. They went with it. It's there, you know.
I have something all lined up along those lines for me to complain about. Because, you know, one of my biggest complaints about modern superhero comics is everybody's got a family. Yeah. There's 9 different versions of every character. And I just don't like that. I find it dilutes the characters and gets me less interested. But I didn't know there was a Ginny Hex, Jonah Hex's granddaughter or something.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I'm just going to remember that thing in like 2 years. But he cares. Damien was saying something.
Go ahead, Pal.
Damien was saying that he couldn't imagine the Frost Giant's daughter without Barry Windsor Smith art. So,
oh, that's awesome.
Actually, you better put me in full so I can show.
That's what I'm getting. I'm doing that, sir. There it is.
Okay. So not Barry Windsor Smith. Also, I had to choose an image that wouldn't get us banned off of YouTube because her loincloth is see-through in the whole of the story.
I actually like
and she doesn't have a Brazilian wax.
No. It's funny because I haven't read them since this summer, but I've been working my way through the original Robert E. Howard stuff, which I've never read before. And I just recently, just this summer, read Frost Giant's Daughter, and I don't think it really lends itself well to comics. It's not one of the Conan stories because most of it is just Conan wandering through the snow.
Jared, which version or printing do you have of the original Robert E. Howard material?
It's a collected edition I got. I don't know, off of Amazon or something, a digital collected edition. So I don't know.
Okay, the reason I asked that question is by far the best compilation of the original Robert E. Howard material, completely unaltered, was published by Del Rey. And those were just mass market versions of limited version from an English company called Wandering Star, and they're illustrated, and they're really good.
No illustrations in this one, unfortunately.
Okay, gotcha.
People are really onto
the illustrations, illustrated versions. That's.
Go ahead, Paolo.
Yeah. No, the illustrations are by Mark in one of those Conan books from Del Rey by Mark Schultz.
Yeah, one of them's by Mark Schultz, one is by Gary Gianni, and the other was by Justin Sweet, I think.
I think the Gary Gianni one is the best one.
Well, they're all good. Yeah.
I'm going to let everybody know that's watching this on the rewind to go read the comments. There's some good stuff in here, man.
Lots of Phantomos comments.
Yeah. First of all, the Jonah Hex thing.
All the DC stuff.
Wait, I got Phantomas here. I got Phantomas here that you're not expecting. Disney Phantomas originally made in Italy.
Wow.
Hold on. There we go.
Because Donald Duck has a superhero identity called Puppet or the Avenger in English, and he supposedly picks up Phantomius' equipment to become a superhero. So this is a prequel, and it's set in the 1920s in Duck, and that's Gyro Gearloo's grandfather or something.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Wow.
Oh, man. That is hilarious. Adding family members and legacies to everybody. Yeah. But it took me forever to forget that Jonah Hex was actually stuffed. His body was supposedly stuffed and set up as a statue in an old Wild West museum somewhere. You know, it'll come to me where that happened, but I was like, oh, my God.
But I love the name of these. No. I love the name of these Dark Knights one-shots. Dark Knights Death Metal, The Last 52, War of the Multiverses, #1.
Is that real? That's real.
That's real.
It's real bad.
And the other one is Dark Knights Death Metal, The Last Stories of the DC Universe, #1.
I remember when these were titles that were in like What the and
parody books.
Yeah. They just don't give a crap anymore. They just don't give a crap.
No. Let's see what else is there. Not much else that I can see. King Size Conan. Has anyone read any of the new Marvel Conan?
No.
I know Sleepy Reader liked some of it in the beginning.
I read like the first 5 or 6 issues, and I cannot say I was impressed.
I would say everybody seemed to like it at first, but within half a year, no one was buying Conan.
Within 6 months.
I've never understood this mindset that people have where I like what Dark Horse did with Conan for the movie.
Yeah, I read a lot of that stuff.
But then as soon as Marvel announces they have the property, it's everybody goes nuts. So I'm like,
yeah,
I don't understand that.
Remember how big Star Wars comics were a few years ago?
Dark Horse
Now-
did a great job with Star Wars for years and years. And as soon as Marvel gets it, it's like everybody said, "Oh, it's Star Wars." I'm like, but
Yeah.
you know,
Now, even 20 years ago, I remember comments in Usenet that about some Vertigo comics not selling well, and they sold well for Vertigo comics, but somebody mentioned if they were published by Marvel, they sell twice as much just by virtue of being Marvel.
Right.
that's a mindset I just can't understand.
Yeah, well, actually, I can understand them selling well at first because they were for the first. Because I don't think Dark Horse got to do any Luke and Leia stuff. I think their stuff was all expanded universe. So I know tons. Like Star Wars. I've seen Star Wars expanded universe fans love that stuff, but fans like my friends wanted Luke and Leia stuff or nothing.
Yeah, I've got the book here somewhere that's the compendium of all the Dark Horse stuff, all the miniseries, one-shots, everything Dark Horse stuff did in chronological order of the expanded universe. And they put out so much stuff. It was amazing.
Yeah, Marvel's been reprinting it all in Epic collections.
Yeah, but I kind of called it with Marvel with what they were going to do with Conan. And I said the first 6 months they're going to put everything they got into it. Then they're going to hand it off and it's going to go out of hell. And I think that's what happened. I mean, Conan's in the Avengers. No matter how you slice it. Conan was in the future. They did a, year 3000 Conan story or some crap.
They're doing whatever they want. Sleepy Reader says he liked the Ron Garney Conan issues, but the rest has gone from meh to get me out of here.
Well, the Tim Truman aren't so bad.
No, he means the Marvel ones.
The Marvel stuff.
Oh, right, the Marvel, right.
Yeah, Chuck Dixon, Larry Hammonds coming in.
Sometimes.
I really matter of fact, my favorite. I used to buy the Dark Horse Conans in hardcover. Yeah, I'm wondering how long they can keep it out of the public domain here. I was buying the Dark Horse Conan hardcovers because they were so cheap.
Right.
They're like the list price on them was like $24. And I bought them for a while. Then I sold them a couple of years ago, all except for the number 0 one, which was my favorite of them.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed that one. Aliens.
I remember that book. I have that one.
Yeah, I haven't read it yet.
I just remember because he's dressed up in a tux.
Yeah. But that's the stuff. Yeah, I'm just going along with what y'all are talking about there and showing things. If Marvel bought the Predator, this means they should do a team book showing Dutch team in the past doing rescue missions. Yeah, can it even be better if Dixon wrote it? Yeah. I've looked up. Nobody's really messed up the Thing yet. I know Dark Horse had a little couple issues of the Thing back in the early 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the Thing from Outer Space? What?
Yeah.
That one?
Everyone wants the Savage Land Predator Wolverine story, Marvel will do.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I have the Walt Simonson drawn graphic novel Wolverine in the Savage Land, where he goes down there and he goes back to try to find his Zippo lighter he lost, and this little tribe has put it on a pedestal and they're worshiping it.
The Savage Land.
Speaking of X-Men, I have all 22 issues and I'm revisiting them for the first time probably like in 15 years. But this was the series that finally led Byrne to leave Marvel. But X-Men: The Hidden Years. I got 14 through 22 here. I got 1 through 12 somewhere where I'm reading them. But Tom Palmer does the inks, and these are the issues that's filling in the X-Men from the Silver Age when they went into reprints after Neil Adams was there, to where Lynn Wayne and Claremont came on and brought it back, right? And this fills in those gaps where there's nothing but reprints of X-Men. I never figured out why they kept X-Men in reprints instead of having room for another book. And then I don't know why Marvel pulled the plug on this, because it actually gets better as it goes along. It's in that era, and there's a lot of Neil Adams reference and stuff, and Tom Palmer gives it that feel.
That reminds me, I can't remember if I told you guys, a couple weeks ago I went to Byrne Robotics, the John Byrne website, and he's been doing, I think he's got 16 or 17 issues done of his own fan X-Men comic.
Yeah.
So I downloaded it all.
How's it
and
looking?
I read the first issue. But if you follow Walter Simonson on Twitter, he took it upon himself to blue line one page of just because he wanted to, and he inked over like this splash page of the Phoenix. And so go to Walter's Twitter from just a couple days ago, and you can see him inking John Byrne over one of those fanfic X-Men pages he did.
Now,
Have you read any of that stuff?
No, but I saw like the first, I think, 12 pages or something that Byrne did when he started that. He said it was really odd because he just sat down at the table, and he said it was like the pages came out of the pencil like they were just waiting there to be written down. It just kind of flowed. And they kind of put out, I think it was C.B. Cebulski kind of tried to put out a filler for Byrne, trying to give him the idea that he's welcome back at any time. You know.
Well, I think they tried to make a deal, but it didn't happen.
Oh my God, I got it. It came up.
There you go.
Let me see if I can get it. He's calling it a little practice. Let me see if I can share this. Come on, share screen. Yes. Yeah, I was a little hesitant to go on Twitter. I think it's nasty. Is it showing up?
Yeah, there it is.
All right. Phoenix pencils by John Byrne, inks by Simonson, brush and indie ink over on his Byrne Robotics website. John's been posting fanfic issues of X-Men issues. He's writing and penciling. He grabbed a page for fun, blue lined and inked it. That looks really cool.
Yeah.
Looks very cool. It's amazing that Byrne's still kind of innovative. I mean, look what he's done here. This is really cool. Yeah, I dig it.
And Sleepy Reader just mentioned Tom Palmer over here, maybe the greatest inker of his era, just reading the Magic miniseries with his inks. I think it's issue number 3, Tom Palmer drew and inked. The cover on Magic is one of my favorites. I just think it's a great, great cover. It's the cover where she's kind of sitting cross-legged and floating and doing magic. It's just such a good cover.
Yeah, I have that. I met Tom Palmer a couple years ago at a Baltimore Con, and I ended up getting free signatures from him because I've kind of talked about his work and all that stuff. And he was like, he looked at his handler and says, "This man does not get charged." I was like, all right. So,
now you're just sharing a random Google page.
Yeah, Magic miniseries.
Number 3 cover you need.
Am I still showing up on the sharing?
You are. There it is.
Number 4.
That cover right there, I really like.
Oh, come on. No, Wikipedia. No. There it is. Yeah, I have this miniseries, and I've never sat down to read it. I've just gone through the artwork in it and stuff.
Right.
John Mishima, I mean, it felt like a Conan book in parts with that Mishima work. But Palmer penciled that himself, right? Is that what you said?
Yeah, he penciled and inked that one.
I never knew that. I knew he inked it. Oh, that's fantastic.
Right. I just happened to stumble on that one again for the first time in 30 years, and was like, "Wow, I really like this cover."
Nice. Oh man, here we go. We got like you said, we got all kinds.
Magic
of stuff
covers number 4. Sleepy Reader says.
Yeah, it was really good. Also, X-Men Classics and the added backups of some great Chris Claremont did new stories with I want to say it was John Bolton or somebody. I can't remember who the artist was.
Art Adams drew some of them too.
The covers and inside. He was all over those books with the covers and the inside covers and stuff. And then where comic books had less pages in the 70s versus the 80s, they had room to go in there, and Claremont did these fantastic backup stories that added to those. So you really, if you're an X-Men completist, those have some fantastic stories in them in the backup features.
Did they ever collect those in a trade paperback or anything?
Not that I'm aware of, but I wouldn't be surprised if they had. Byrne's Elsewhere stories. Somebody mentioned Generations a minute ago. Some of Byrne's best stuff was in these Elsewhere and Other Worlds, and I saw the Simonson inking on Facebook community page.
Yeah. He posted it there too.
Come on. It's locking up on me.
What are our thoughts on Lobo, Matthew asks? I don't have any thoughts on Lobo.
Oh, I
never
Lobo.
really read him much.
It
He
was
never
funny back
interested
in
me
the
enough
day,
to
but I
read him.
probably wouldn't read it now.
What was that?
I thought it was funny back in the day, but I probably wouldn't read it now.
Well, see, I always got the joke of what Lobo was supposed to have been, you know.
Yeah.
And then I was one of those people, in a way, I was kind of with Giffen when people were taking it serious, but I always got that it was a joke. It was a secret humor character. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he was a blatant humor character. There was nothing. I was just never interested in it.
When that book came out, that was also a very controversial cover.
Yeah, I talked about it in the show I did Monday, showing that off because of that elbow, that little sack attack there, if you will. Yeah. That's a real muscle. That's how Simon Bosley got by with it.
You know what's controversial about that cover to me? I hate the fact that everybody contracts is all the time. The apostrophe S everything. And it gets confused with the possessive. That's what makes it controversial to me. That's one of my pet peeves with the English language. When people apostrophe S everything. I'm cracking up, Tim. That's my controversy. Lobo's back. Lobo is back. They can't help but apostrophe S it because people are nuts.
Go ahead, Scott. I want to have a moment here.
I was going to say, if you think possessive is annoying, you should talk to Linda.
No, it's not possessive that's annoying. It's that people make a contraction out of is with everything, which when you use it with a noun, it confuses it with the possessive. That's what annoys me, and it annoys me because everybody and everybody does. I mean, it's like common in the English language. It's allowed.
Just have to know the apostrophe. That's what that's for. You know?
But but it's like everybody does. It drives me crazy because I always ask, like, why do you do that? Why do you insist on doing that? They're like, well, I like to write the way I speak. I'm like, that's the only thing you're writing phonetically. You're not writing anything else phonetically, but is with an apostrophe. That's it. Because people
are busy, Jared. They got things to do. They got to read this and go. You know what I mean?
The YouTuber J-Rocks. I've done a couple videos with you. He likes to write phonetically, but he writes everything phonetically. He writes that makes sense to me, at least. It's like, why is everything? Why is the only thing you're writing phonetically apostrophe S because you want to contract is?
I love how you're an artist. And you're like, I'm going to talk about the English language and grammar.
Well, I'm a writer too. I mean, sometimes I forget I'm a writer because I've been writing comic strips for 10 years. I've been writing 1,000 words a week on my blog for 15 years. I've been writing comics all these years, but it's like I forget I'm a writer because I'm such an artist. I forget I'm a writer too. But there are things that bother the writer side of me, and that's the controversy about Lobo's back to me. I'm like, no.
Going back to writing phonetically, there are a few things more annoying in the English language than a writer who writes a dialogue that takes place in the South phonetically.
I am torn.
It's really stupid. Yeah.
I'm torn when it comes to writers writing stuff phonetically. Because it's like, why is one accent written phonetic? I understand what they're trying to do.
Like, write a Boston accent like that and see how long that takes to get annoying.
You just broke up on me.
I was going to say, if you're going to do that, write a Boston accent and see how long that takes to get annoying.
Yeah. It's just kind of like, shouldn't all accents be? If you're writing like a Southern accent phonetically, then shouldn't you write all accents phonetically? Because then it's like, well, my accent isn't an accent. It's weird.
Well, you're finally. Well, I mean, if we're going to do this, I know this is a comic book show, but you kind of started touching on my problem with it. I was going to bring up Gambit. This is when I knew might be getting a little superior reading my comics in the 90s. But when people started like getting a hold of Gambit somewhere along the line besides Chris Claremont, I was like, make up your mind. Is he Cajun or is he Creole? It killed me. Yeah. Some people made it thicker and thinner. And then when it comes to those Southern accents, you got to understand there's not just one. they're by
Right.
region. So it kills me when people are taking their North Carolina, South Carolina border accent and trying to pass it off as Georgian. I'm like, you heathens. I'm like,
Yeah, that's the problem with writing It's like sometimes I'm like, I appreciate the effort, but I really don't need, because they just want to remind you that the guy is Southern. But there is no accent like, the 60s and 70s Marvel French accents.
I love those. No, I've written some stuff.
Batroc the Leaper.
Yeah, Batroc the Leaper.
Yeah.
Guilty.
But
When I was doing
everything I say about French is wrong.
when I can't believe I'm about to tell you this. When I went back to night classes and back to college in the year 2000, an elective was I had to take a creative writing class to write plays. So I had all the women in there ended up doing Still Magnolias. I did this thing where it was in a bar and two women were meeting to hire a killer named Pepe with a French accent that I played myself when we had to act it out. So I wrote all the lines phonetically in French, and I thought it was awesome. I was Pepe, the bartender / hired killer.
Did all your these become Z's?
Yeah, and the dude, like we were just let go to do it, and he didn't see the scripts until the day of. So we're all sitting in the theater. We get up on stage and it's my turn. We're the last ones, and I just see him with my script, and I see him do this.
It's like every 1970s Marvel writer learned their French accent from Monty Python.
Yeah.
Or Looney Tunes. Yeah.
Guys, I can't see comments. It has stopped at 7:15 with Dr. Silver Age. I've got more comments.
Still going here. Let's see. We got lots of stuff. How did yours stop?
It's just frozen.
Sleepy Reader says Palmer made even Don Heck X-Men look good.
Yeah, Palmer's awesome.
Vidal says Tom Palmer was the reason I read the Avengers in the mid-'80s. Yeah. Oh, and Robotters 100 says they have an omnibus classic X-Men. Yeah, I think there's an X-Men Classics omnibus. A few people are telling us.
Okay, I hope it's
William Bird says the X-Men Classics backup have been collected in trade or an omnibus before. Okay. Lobo is fun when he's pissing off the Justice League or Superman, but he's just a novelty. I think it's tough to write comedy. It's tough to keep. The trade paperback of X-Men Classic was called Vignettes.
I've seen that. Yes. Lobo is the best when Giffen is writing him. Alan Grant. A lot of people have gotten a hold of him, but Justice League, Legion 90, Legion 91. I've some of the Legion of Superheroes from the 5 years after Lobo's brought back with the Legion, but I think he's a clone. But yeah, Giffen's the one that can write that character the best, in my opinion.
Tommy Bagley says, I'd like to have seen a Bruno Permetti, I can't get his name, X-Men and a Jack Kirby Doom Patrol. The guy who did Doom Patrol. I'm getting his name wrong.
Arnold Drake, maybe? I don't know.
No, it's Bruno Permiani. I can't even remember. I know. I can't even remember his name, but I know that's it.
Let Tim.
I've got this.
Lobo is the main man only when Keith Giffen is involved. Yeah, Giffen knows how to do humor, and he knows to get out after a few issues.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
Oh man, I never noticed this. My Doom Patrol showcase, there's no credits.
Wow.
That's
weird. Robotters, I would have liked more of Len Wein on X-Men. He was just a great creator who had so many ideas. And they also, I think it's important that if you're an artist, you at least understand the writing process. That helps, can do wonders, because we have seen comics with just no structure.
Right.
Hope it just changed on just no structure and beautiful pages. Yeah. And Sleepy Reader thinks Len Wein was a great idea guy, but Claremont was able to spin the great character arcs. Yeah.
Claremont, I mean, Claremont really, it's really odd. He gets, he's a household name when it comes to X-Men. I think he did that, but I don't think a lot of people realized how he really changed team books, with what he did with them, and how so many people, I mean, he set the standard by the 80s. He set the standard.
Yeah.
Almost any team book that was coming out, you just saw X-Men. They got a feral creature in there. They got a leader with no powers. It was, you know.
And Matthew Rasco says, I wrote a script for my screenwriting class for the first semester in the style of Garth Ennis. My professor broke down into tears and laughter. So he probably had the same professor you had.
Yeah, my professor did write on my paper. He's like, I'm in I had to do the character study where he gave us like 100 questions to flesh out all the characters. And he was like, I feel like Pepe is real. I'm very interested in him. And then he saw him on stage. You know,
Tommy Bagley also says, Lord have mercy when you get a writer phonetically scribbling a British Cockney accent. I must admit, I somehow have trouble with the boys and the Scottish accents he writes in.
Lots of apostrophes when you start doing the Cockney accent.
Cockney accents freak me out, man, because like you'll hear them, they'll be saying a bunch of gibberish, and all of a sudden you'll hear a Winnie and two beans, and you're like, what?
And Enigma Vibration says, I don't have that many omnibuses, but flicking through X-Men 3, such a mixed collection. Magic, Miller's Wolverine, Sienkiewicz, and I do have a fondness for the Paul Smith issues. Those Paul Smith issues are where the X-Men really took off and became mainstream.
Awesome.
What has he done in the past few years?
I don't know. He's been doing he's been doing a lot of commission work and selling stuff on Facebook, but I don't know if he's been doing comic stuff.
Like after he did Leave It to Chance, it just seems like he kind of
he isn't
the map, you know.
Like I have a friend who bought a couple of drawings off him from Facebook, and he charges anywhere from $100 to $500 for his drawing. Right. So I'm sure he's making plenty of commission money.
Well, I tell you what, I mean, I have not been batting 100 tonight. It happens, you know, just one of them Friday nights after work. But wasn't Paul Smith around as an artist like 10 years before he even touched a comic? I mean, he was into animation.
He was one of those guys.
Yeah, he was around for maybe 10 years, I think, off the top of my head, before he even got into comics. The dude has got to be, he may just be retired. He may have just hit that age, you know.
Terry Austin retired.
Finally, good.
Yeah, I heard that.
He earned it. He earned it.
Yeah. He has, from what I hear too, he has a tremendous art collection.
I can imagine.
He didn't sell most of his stuff, and he bought a lot of stuff.
Oh, Palo's back. All right.
There he is. Yeah. Well, Matthew Rasco also says, only thing you need to know about my school script is that it involves a man buggering a chicken, the IRA, and Seinfeld conversations.
You're a man.
Sounds like... have any of you guys ever read Eric Powell's? There were 2 issues of it published. There's 1 and 2. It's called Satan's Sodomy Baby.
Yeah.
No, I didn't read that one. I've heard of it, though.
My God, that stuff is hysterical. Definitely not for kids and not for the squeamish.
He also came up with a fake story.
God, is that funny?
Yeah, it's hilarious. But he came up with a fake story for the first one that a church group came after him, and a bunch of were like, yeah, that was a fake. He came up with a fake story to promote that book, and only like right before that second one came out, he finally admitted it was fake.
That second one, he doesn't pull any punches. He makes parodies of all kinds of people, and it's pretty harsh. It's funny though.
I'm afraid to Google it, man. Google follow me.
Tommy Bailey's talking about.
I wouldn't do an image search on that one.
Oh yeah, I would totally. First one comes 2 covers, you know.
I love the 70s. Tommy Bailey said, I love the 70s Marvel cheat of just tagging on a foreign idiom. Maria, Madre de Dios, Bus moi, Gotten Himmel. That's what I remember from the Invaders so much. Gotten Himmel, everybody was always shouting. Nine, it cannot be. A ghost from the past.
So many World War II comics that had God in Himmel as part of the dialogue in like every other book, you know.
The Invaders had like
it's the one word that those writers know. Yeah. It's the and there's another thing that I read once. Foreign characters are able to do a dissertation on quantum physics in English, but feel the need to revert to their own language to yes.
I've grabbed a random issue of Invaders, the original kid in my upgrade. Well, I'm going to see how these Germans talk. You know, I remember Frank Robbins having him like Union Jack flies in there right when they had the invaders on a firing squad, and Hitler's up there, doing his thing there.
I still, that was the line I was just quoting. He was like, 9, it cannot be. A ghost from the past. The Englishman called Union Jack. I don't know why I remember that line from my childhood, but that's what Hitler was shouting on the last page.
Because it's cool. It made me a Union Jack fan at like 6 years old. I was like, and I remember my dad going, "You wear your own colors, son." I had no idea what he was talking about at the time, but he was like, "You wear your own colors, son. You're American." Oh, that's hilarious.
And Sleepy here says, I suspect that some famous artists make so much from commissions that it doesn't seem worth doing actual comics anymore financially. Also, because all those guys got their rates cut back in, 2010 and 2000. Guys who were making $200-$300 a page, all of us. That's why all the foreign artists came in. All those guys making $200-$300 a page, they said, no, we're only paying $125-$150 a page now.
Right.
That's why you see so many foreign artists working at C.B. Sobolski's first job back in 2004, 2005, when he was new talent coordinator, was to go around in the world and find foreign artists that they could pay less. And they learned their lesson of the Filipino artists. They didn't pay them less. They lowered everybody else's rates. Because if you can remember in the 70s, when the Filipino artists found out they were paid by DC less than the American artists, there was a big uproar over it.
I recently watched a video interview with Steve Bissett. And you're talking about page rates. He had submitted something way back to DC back in the early 80s or something. And when he got the contract, he filled out what he thought his page rate should be based on what he'd been paid in the past.
Right.
And Julie Schwartz called him on the phone. And was like, what the hell is this? He's like, what are you doing filling in your page rate? And he's like, that's what I thought. He was like, no. And he tore it up and said, I'm actually going to pay you what you're actually worth, what he had filled in based on what he thought he should be getting from information from other people was far less than what it actually should have been.
Well, what it used to be is when you were an artist first working for Marvel, the first thing they had to do was establish a page rate for you.
Right.
So the editor would go to accounting and whoever said, so we got a new guy here, and they'd establish a page rate.
Right.
And then that's what you got paid. And every so often, the editor would go in and ask for more money for you and establish a new pay. If you've been around for a while, your stuff is and you'd get whatever you. So now they knew that if they were hiring Paul Smith for a job, his page rate was $200 a page, let's say. So that's why that's why Barry Smith was on Conan. Because he was a new guy and his page rate was low. So they could make up. But sometime, like I said, I can't remember when it was, in 2010 or so, there was a big uproar. They told everybody we're lowering everybody's page rates. And that's what they say DC is going to do now again.
Yeah,
they're going to lower everyone's page. But Ike Perlmutter specifically planned to lower everyone's page rates. That was his plan. That's why he had C.B. Sobolski going around the world looking for artists so he could lower everyone's page rates.
That's an awesome job. That would be an awesome job. Seriously, just traveling,
If you like to travel, I'm sure, but having to get dirt on artists and give it to Ike so they can negotiate a lower page rate. I mean, there's got to be some guilt to go along. But that's why he's editor-in-chief now, because he's one of Ike's guys.
Having to intentionally undercut other people, I'm not sure that's what I would call an awesome job.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to do that.
No.
Yep, Sleepy just did a new page rate cut is rumored to be coming in DC in 2021, thanks to AT&T. Yeah. So we'll know who do a lot better in commissions, probably, But I think commissions have gotten bigger, too. I don't think commissions were as big like in the early 2000s as they are now.
Depends on the artist.
Yeah, it does. It really does.
I don't know. Charlton 66. I've seen him try to get some commissions, or he's gotten them. He's got tons of commissions done. But I've seen him have people that he's bought off 2 or 3 times. The more he buys off of them, it seems like the longer they think they can take with his stuff after he's paid them. And I think I've heard tons of stories, and I want to say it was Art Adams, grain of salt. People, there's been people
My friend Ed has been waiting for a piece from Art Adams for 7 years.
There you go.
Tim Gary's been waiting for a commission from
that's it.
Adam Hughes for over 15 years.
Yeah, you told me about that one too. Yeah. And
Bob Wyachek. Like I said, I've been scanning in. Bob Wyachek's not a computer technical guy. So I've been, whenever he needs scanning work done or anything digital, he just brings it over here and I scan it in for him. So I think it was like maybe 2 years ago, he was finishing up a commission. He's like, I got to get this commission out to this guy. He's been waiting a long time. I really got to get it out to him. And I looked at the date on my scan and it was like 2011 or something, or even earlier. It may have been like 2009. I was like, 10 years ago I scanned. You've been waiting. This guy's been waiting 10 years for it. It's like, hey, I really got to get it done. I'm like, how is that possible that this guy is waiting 10 years for a commission? But he got it to him eventually.
Yeah, I would have lost sleep if I was like a week late. You know, what I told him, I would have lost it. Guys, I gotta wind it down here a little bit, and I just saw what time it was. We have the early morning going on. I'm gonna have to like go out to the shed and dig out Christmas stuff on top of all kinds of other chores. But I have to do them tonight because the wife has the night shift and she'll be sleeping tomorrow. I don't want to wake her. That's me being considerate, you know.
Sleepy Reader just said Joe Bennett, an Immortal Hulk artist, is currently charging thousands of dollars for his commissions. I imagine he can.
Yeah. Joe Bennett, the Brazilian artist who doesn't want his page rate lowered.
Right.
Man.
Some of the older artists now that are well known that don't do books on a regular basis can command some really high prices on commissions.
Yeah. Cover quality pencils, single characters, $750. Cover quality pencils, cover homage, $1,500. Yeah.
And then you had George Perez doing a portrait of anybody you wanted as you waited in line at Comic-Con for $30. I watched him do Kid Flash. I watched him do Captain America. I just sat there and watched him do like 5 of them while I was just waiting my turn to get my book signed. It was amazing.
Walter Simonson still does free sketches at cons. It's crazy.
For free sketches?
Yeah, he still does free sketches at cons.
Lots of artists do.
Oh, man.
And that's actually, it's expected for artists to do that at European conventions.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because in conventions, they're guests of the organization. So everything is paid for.
Wow. Nice. Well, everybody got that round where we go around and see if anybody's got any last words? We started with film noir. This ended with a white line and started with a white line and ends with the hard truth. You know, like
it started with us just talking and then ends like everything does, with a bullet.
Yeah.
Well, let's just remember in passing.
Vibration says Bob Wyachek is the inker on those Paul Smith X-Men too. Yeah, he was. Yeah. Bob is actually, speaking of money, he's actually done a lot of recreations of Paul Smith X-Men covers, which he didn't even ink because Paul Smith inked his own covers because Paul Smith's too expensive for everybody.
Oh wow!
So Bob's the next best thing. He's done some recreations. He's done some recreations too of that Hulk, the Todd McFarlane Hulk cover with Wolverine and Hulk in the claws, because Bob inked that original cover, and Todd McFarlane, he's not doing recreations of that. He's too expensive for that. So Bob does some really nice too. I mean, Bob is a true craftsman. He does an excellent job. Well, of course, he can't now because he can't see, but
Oh,
he's got to get his eyes still aren't fixed. He's still trying to. He's got what is it? I forgot. When your
cataract.
eye nerves go, it's not good.
Yeah.
It's I can't even remember what it is. It's not cataracts. They're the things in your eyes.
Yeah.
It's like your eye nerves start to deteriorate. It's what?
Macular degeneration.
No, it's not. There's another name for it. I can't remember what it is, but it's not good. It's glaucoma. I think it's glaucoma is the one, not macular degeneration. It's glaucoma is what he's got. And
well, you know what? You can tell when you're on the season collector show because we're all sitting here like talking about health issues and stuff, and we're all feeling pathetic.
Yeah.
Oh, man, no, that's his craft. He needs his eyes. I'm like, he's a friend of yours too, so I know it's. Man.
There's only one thing that Webcam did full pencils on that I remember that I have, which I bought the Iron Man 2020 trade paperback, and it reprints is Iron Man 2021 shot from 1994.
Mm-hmm. I think he wrote. Did he write that, or did Walter write that?
Walter wrote it.
Okay.
All right, guys. I see no comments, and I got to go. But, I don't know if everybody's going to be around Sunday. I'm not sure what's going on.
Here's an interesting comment that George Perez had a favored nation clause in his contract at DC, which meant no artist DC brought in could make more than him. He got at least $1 more. DC rarely competed for hot artists then. That's interesting.
Who was that?
George Perez, Tommy Bagley just told us that. Had a favored nations clause in his contract. I'd never heard that before.
What about when John Byrne came in?
He may have gotten that later. I don't know. I don't know when he got that contract.
Man.
Matthew Rasco setting up his tree for Christmas too.
All right. Well, thanks for everybody watching the show and hanging in. This is one of our more laid back shows, and it was a lot of fun. You got to admit it was. I mean, we went back to the 80s for like about 20 minutes, and we brought a lot of people with us.
Sleepy Reader wants Scott to show some of his hardbacks sometime.
Yeah.
I got a whole bunch of them.
Yeah, now that you have the webcam, you might as well just get ready to prepare start preparing.
A giant stack of books from one room to another one.
Yeah. Wait till you guys see what Scott has. It's been a couple years since I've been to his place, and the stuff he just has laying around is just unbelievable. Some nice stuff, man.
The key is you just want a few things each week. Pick 3 books, maybe, and bring them, and no more. You don't want to overwhelm yourself.
Start charting admission and see what happens.
Oh, you got to start your own YouTube channel to try that, man. But like I said at the top of the show, man, we do this for a whistle. Just amazing. Think what we'll do for a biscuit. A
rubber biscuit.
A rubber biscuit. That's what you got. All right. Later, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.